What options do I have to figure out where to move abroad? And I would say that the first thing to consider is you have to kind of step out of your regular thinking. Hello everybody, thanks for coming to Retire Earlier and Better. We're always talking about the lifestyle of the early retirement, financial independence. So you can be any age, that's what we're talking about. And you can do it anywhere, in the States, abroad, wherever you want, whatever suits you best. So the idea comes up a lot in these circles, like people ask, where should I go? And this is what really fuels the online move abroad, retire abroad media and magazines, is that people want to know where, and they want to feel secure in their knowledge and their decision that they make. They want to be able to feel like somebody has done their homework and they're telling them, look, we've done all our homework for you already, and therefore you can feel assured that this is going to be a good place for you. History, however, has shown that scenario is full of fallacy and is incomplete. So without dwelling on that, let's move forward and say, well, okay, well, how would I do this? What options do I have to figure out where to move abroad? And I would say that the first thing to consider is you have to kind of step out of your regular thinking. What do I mean by that? Well, your regular thinking is maybe a lot of you, and some of you haven't, but a lot of you have lived in the same place, you've worked in the same place, the same employer, the same house. And that's why I don't blame you when you think that you have to choose a place for the rest of your life. That is just the kind of thinking that gets us into trouble. We see just from living our lives, even in the States, that things change, and a lot of times we're not necessarily having to be running from something, but maybe we're working our way towards something. Like, we got a house on the lake, we love to go sailing, there in the States. So we wanted warmer weather. We toured the South, Florida, Arizona, all these different things that we did, because that's what completed our list of wants in our life to make our life better. So when we're talking about going abroad, we're talking about language, safety, and the satisfaction of living there, or the culture, things to do. This is why a lot of times people do focus on the touristy areas and do end up living like tourists. And a lot of you have spent a lot of time to get to the level that you are for finances, for your lifestyle. So I don't want to minimize that. I know that you have achieved a certain status in your finances, and I want to congratulate you. You've done well, and I think it's great. And for you, and if you're comfortable just living in tourist areas, that's just fine with us. We're not trying to tell you not to do that. But for a lot of you, it comes down to being able to do this earlier, being able to do it better. A lot of you also can save more money. You want to reach a certain financial status and goal, and this is another way to do it. Be able to, bake 2 cakes in one go, to where you're living the early retirement lifestyle and yet you're still saving and investing. That's the perfect sweet spot, by the way. But about where, that's what we're talking about here. We have to grapple with language, and I would say that you should think about what languages would you like to at least attempt to learn. See, because before we went to South America, I decided I was going to learn Spanish before we even got there, and it was challenging. It's just learning a new language after an old dog that can't learn new tricks. And I told myself, I'm not going to buy into that. I'm just going to put my nose to the grindstone, and I'm going to give it all I've got and learn as much Spanish as I can to the level that I can. I'm not looking for perfection here. So, what language would you like to at least explore into learning. That's really important because there are some languages that some people don't like. It's like, that language, it sounds so, I just wouldn't even want to try to learn that language, things like that. So that's number one. And remember, we're talking about the three things with an eye towards being able to achieve the retire early lifestyle sooner, or be able to do it better, or even right now, which is what we say. And then with the safety, I see a lot of people just pigeonholing themselves into areas that are promoted on the internet because of the false sense of security. It is a false sense of security. It has been proven that where foreigners congregate for long periods and create bubbles, crime actually increases. So the perceived safety is only temporary. And so what it comes down to is, again, we need to think outside that box and consider the options. And what are the options? The options are that...
Ooh, who is lurking?
If you don't feel safe enough to mingle with the culture, then we're saying that you should reconsider going to such a place. Now, that's big, that's huge, because a lot of people end up leaving places where crime rates spike out of control. And there's plenty of examples of that in the news in the last few years. You got to understand that when you enter into the realm of the internet, there's a lot of people that are in denial. They're newbies. They haven't done this before, or for one reason or another, whatever it is, doesn't matter. They just aren't willing to accept the level of risk. Their safety levels are being lowered. So in some countries. So nowadays, if you've been watching our videos, it's important also to understand the gringo vicious cycle. I know I bring this up a lot, but it is part of this picture. You want to know at what stage this cycle is in, because then you know what to expect. Understanding and doing your due diligence on what the crimes rates are, not for the whole country, because a lot of times things can look a certain way for the whole country, whether it's good or bad. I mean, things may look really good for a certain country, like you've got a lot of European countries that look really safe. But then if you go to this city over here, there's a lot more crime there. It's city specific. It's going to be the spot you want to go. That's what you want to know. You want to know, where did the bears squat in the woods in that city? Okay, and then the level of satisfaction is the next thing. The third thing is the satisfaction, or living a cultured life, some people call it. And that means different things to different people. I mean, I do understand though the difference between living in a village. You've got to understand yourself and know yourself. Do you actually enjoy living in a really big city? A lot of you have perhaps had a career in a big city and you like that, but as you get older, you might want a little more peace and quiet and just have access to a big city so that you don't really have to be in the middle of it 24/7, 365. You could perhaps be an hour away and go there, for the day and take day trips and then go back home to a tranquil small area. Or not, either way, whatever pleases you. For some people, it means having access to live theater and that kind of thing. But nowadays, to me personally, I actually like tranquility. I don't like noise, but I do also like a variety of things to do. So, nowadays, as far as the theater thing, we have things like Passport SD drive right here with 1 or 2,000, like a terabyte that you can store hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of movies on and just carry them with you, or for $10 a month to do things like Netflix or whatever. So there's no shortage of ways to entertain yourself this day and age, but to each his own. Some people want to have access to certain things, and that's perfectly fine. So you want to know whether those things are available or not, or whether it's even important to you. So where to go comes down to those three primary things. Just as in life, when it comes to saving money, it comes down to the three primary large expenses in life: housing, transportation, and food costs, which is we need to focus on also when we go abroad. But as far as where, we're talking about language, safety, and satisfaction or culture. So I hope this helps you think outside the box and realize how to make a decision. There is some due diligence to do to get to the bottom of what the actual facts are for the place that you're thinking of. But I wanted to give you a starting point to think about where you might like to go. And there is one bonus part, that would be number 4, and that would be friends. Now, I would caution you, as a foreigner, you are looked at differently, and therefore in a lot of these places. So even when you're doing your homework like this and doing all your due diligence, you want to be careful about making friends with locals. It's something you want to be careful with. I'm not saying it's something you want to avoid, but it's something that you want to be super careful. But I would say to avoid it initially. And actually there is a way to do it in a focused manner so that you avoid all the problems, but you get all of the benefits. And there is a way to do that. The other option would be to bring a family with you, and also to have friends that are willing to travel where you travel. But there definitely are ways to be friendly and friends when you first get to a place, so that you can be able to function in a very effective way as a local. But beyond that, as far as socializing, that's something also that can be worked on. But I would caution you, and I would say to do it specifically in a certain way, and to do it very slowly. All right. And there's more investigation that can be done. One of the things that foreigners don't do, and especially gringos, is they don't really do their homework. They tend to go on social media and ask a question, and that's the extent of their due diligence. So I've always said there's more to it than that. You see that we do it, and you see us that when we were first going abroad, we had to go through certain things to be able to realize what it is that we really need to be looking for. And just to give it to you, it would be starting out with, it would be choosing the right landlord. And I've talked in other videos about tip of the iceberg techniques and just ways of studying people and understanding what kind of a person you're dealing with, and just being cautious and diligent about the relationship that you have with the people that you need to be interacting with, such as landlords. It's more important to choose the type of person that is going to be your landlord than it is the type of property that you're renting. I mean, clearly if you have a choice of different properties, great. But if you have to make a choice between, oh, this property's nicer and better, but the landlord's like this, but this property's not as good as that one, but the landlord is the type of landlord you should have, you should always choose the landlord. And that's the beginning of your friendly relations with the local. There's a great tip for you. Hope that helps. Subscribe to the channel and support the channel by supporting the algorithm. Thank you very much, and have a nice day.